You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 157. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robin Jackson, and today we're going to talk about a tweak that you can make to your vision that's going to make your vision significantly more powerful. And the reason we're talking about this right now is that many of you are wrapping up the school year and you're going into the summer planning season. And I want to share something with you that can keep you from making a huge mistake and wasting a lot of time pursuing something that really doesn't matter. Today, we're going to be talking about whether or not your goals and your visions represent the means or the ends. But before we do that, a couple of reminders. First of all, Builders Lab. Now, last time I checked, and I haven't looked in a couple of days, but we were less than 10 seats away from being sold out at Builders Lab. And so things are starting to wind up. I told you from the beginning that Builders Lab will sell out, and it looks like we are on track to do that right now. And here's why this is so important. You've got a big deadline looming. You see, if you don't get your ticket by June 3, then we cannot guarantee that you're going to get your builder's box. And trust me, you want the builder's box. One of the things that has made Builders Lab so amazing during this environment, this virtual environment, even when we first shifted from an in-person Builders Lab to a virtual Builders Lab, one of the things that we were really adamant about was that we wanted it to be a full experience. That's why we call it the Builders Lab 360-degree experience. And one big part of that experience is we send you a box, not a teeny little box. We send you a huge box, and it's full of surprises. And so it's a really important part of Builders Lab. So if you don't get your ticket by June 3, assuming there are even any tickets left, we cannot guarantee that we can get that box shipped to you in time. So stop waiting. You need to get to Builders Lab and get your ticket. And to do that, you want to go to mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. Now, let me tell you why you want to come to Builders Lab. It's not just the box. The box is cool, but it's not just about the box. You see, Builders Lab is the place you come when you want to get very clear about your vision and when you want to stop fighting symptoms and get to the root cause. At Builders Lab, we do something called microslicing, and we spend a lot of time doing that. We first show you how to microslice your school, which is weeding through all of the noise and getting to the root cause, the one thing that you need to focus on right now that's going to make the biggest difference in you achieving your vision. It's about finding the biggest challenge that is the biggest threat to your vision, and then figuring out how to remove that challenge, that threat, in the next 90 days. But the other part of Builders Lab that's really cool is that we don't just microslice your school. We show you how to microslice a classroom. Now, I sometimes forget how powerful microslicing can be. I teach it all the time, but I got an opportunity to do this in a classroom a couple of weeks ago. I visited a classroom and we were there for 5 to 7 minutes. And in that time, we were able to get to the root cause of why this teacher's practice wasn't working. Now, this was not a bad teacher. In fact, the teacher was a very good teacher. And we were able to pinpoint what would make that teacher a great teacher. And we came back and we had the discussion. And then afterwards, I got to do something I almost never get to do anymore, which I actually got to give that feedback back to the teacher. And the teacher, when I finished giving her the feedback, she said, "Wow, this is coaching. If I had this kind of feedback all the time, I can't tell you what I could become. This was so helpful. This is the most meaningful feedback I've ever received." Now, that's not because I'm amazing. It's because micro slicing allows you to do that. And one of the things we're going to show you at Builders Lab is how to go into a classroom, be in there for only 5 to 7 minutes, but get to the root cause of a teacher's practice and then craft feedback using a structure that we've designed so that your teachers are so excited about that feedback that they can't wait to get back into the classroom, implement that feedback, and become better. So that's why you need to come to Builders Lab. Because not only is it going to help you think through the root causes of why your school isn't where it needs to be, and then help you figure out what you do about it, it's also going to show you how to get to the root cause of why your teachers aren't where they need to be. And not in a punitive way, but in a very supportive way. Give them the kind of feedback, support, accountability, and culture that helps them grow one level in one domain in 1 year or less, and often cases significantly more than that. So again, get your ticket to Builders Lab by coming to mindstepsinc.com/builders-lab. One more quick announcement. Right now, Buildership University is closed. We're not enrolling anyone right now. We are going through a cohort. It's been incredible. I can't tell you the kinds of breakthroughs people are having at Builders Lab right now. At Buildership University right now. It's so much fun. And we are going to be opening one last beta cohort in June. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But if you want to be a part of the next cohort, you need to go to buildershipuniversity.com and get on the waiting list. All right, that's all I'll say for now. I'll talk a little bit more about it later. We're going to do one last beta cohort. And then after that, we're going to be opening up Buildership University for everybody in the public and start having these breakthroughs even more. Okay, now let's talk about your vision. So you may not know this, but every month inside of Buildership University, we do a free vision workshop, and it is open to everybody. You don't have to be a member of Buildership University to come. Now, when we do this vision workshop, the goal is to help you design a vision that can drive the work in your school. The first step in being a builder is you have to have a builder's vision. You have to have a vision for 100% of your students. And so to help you take that first step into buildership, we offer this vision workshop for free. And there's something that I've been noticing lately as I've been working with people on developing their visions and also working with some clients thinking about their summer plans and thinking about planning for the upcoming school year. And that's this. A lot of people create a vision that is really about the means and not the ends. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I was talking with someone recently and she was saying, well, I want my vision for, I don't want to have any discipline problems in my school. And so I asked her, I said, okay, so if you had a school where all of your students none of your students were suspended or got detention. Everybody was well behaved, but they weren't reading on grade level. They couldn't problem solve in math. They didn't understand history and context. Would you be okay with that? And she said, no. And I said, well, why are you going to make your vision no discipline problems? Why are you going to spend 3 years eliminating discipline problems? She said, because discipline is out of control in my school. I said, so is your vision that you want to get discipline under control, or is discipline being out of control the problem because it's getting in the way of students learning? She said, well, it's getting in the way of students learning. I said, then that's your vision. You want students to learn. And the discipline is just a means. It's an obstacle that's in the way of your bigger vision. You see, sometimes when you are in the weeds, it's really hard to see beyond your biggest obstacle. That's one of the reasons why we do the microslicing in Builders Lab, to help you put your obstacles in perspective so that your obstacle doesn't become the vision. You get the obstacle out of the way so that you can see the bigger vision. Sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, I can't write a vision, mission, or core values until I get discipline under control. And I get it, because if the building is out of control, there are some things you're going to need to do just to bring some safety back into the building. But keep in mind that bringing safety back into the building is a means that allows you to get to what you really want to do. Don't get so distracted by the problems that are immediately in front of you that you can't see beyond them, so that you can really get to the root cause and get that out the way so that you can achieve the real vision that you want for students. Sometimes people will say, well, I just want my kids to be good people. And I say, okay, good people? First of all, that's a very nebulous term. What does good people mean? But second of all, good people so that they can do what? Do you want them to be good people and keep their goodness to themselves? Or do you want them to be good people because you want them to have a positive impact on the world? If your vision is really that you just want them to be good people for the sake of being good people, okay, I understand that. But in most cases, what people are saying is they're saying, I want them to be the kinds of people who have a positive impact on the world. That's your real vision. So when you are setting goals for the year, whether it's a bigger vision or if it's smaller goals, a lot of times people will say things like, okay, I want the goal for the year for all of my teachers to have learning intentions and success criteria up on the board. And okay, you don't need a whole year to do that. You could get that done in a month. But if your goal is to just see a learning intention on the board or success criteria posted online somewhere, once that happens, then what? I'll say to people, okay, so if the teacher has a learning intention posted and has success criteria, but the students are disengaged or the students are not achieving, then are you happy? And I said, no. So why are you making this tactic of learning intentions and success criteria your whole goal for the year? Why are you writing that into your SIP plan? That's not your real goal. You don't really care about learning intentions and success criteria. What you care is that teachers know where students are going and the students also understand where they're headed, because that will lead to better achievement. Sometimes people say, well, I just want more engagement. And I'll ask them, if students are really engaged in class, they're having a good time, they're actively participating, but at the end of the day, they're no better at solving problems. At the end of the day, they can't think like scientists and use that process of experimentation to answer questions that they have about the world. If your students can't read, but they're very engaged, are you okay with that? And of course they say, well, no. I said, so then engagement is a means, it's not an end. People will say, well, my vision is all of our students will be motivated to learn. And I'm like, okay, what will you get if they're motivated to learn? Well, then they'll learn. Then they'll achieve. Well, if they are motivated, then your real vision is that students are learning and achieving. And you are stuck right now on the motivation piece because you spent years kind of wallowing in the lack of student motivation. And you believe that student motivation will solve the problem. Yeah, it may solve the problem, but that's not your vision. That is a means to the bigger end, which is what you really want. So I want to challenge you this week, especially as you are starting to think about your school improvement planning, especially as many of you are contemplating your visions. Don't make this mistake. Don't turn a tactic into your vision. Think about what it is you want out of that. I was talking to someone recently and she was saying that I want to get all of our students in special ed, or 80% of our students in special ed, I want to get them into inclusion and out of self-contained. And I thought, okay, why? What is magical? What is it that you are trying to achieve by getting those students into inclusion versus self-contained special education classes? What is it that you really want? Because the goal is not just you could do that tomorrow. That's a scheduling change. You could put kids into inclusion, whether or not it's good for them, and achieve your vision. But that's not what you really want. What you really want is for students to have the skills to be able to be successful in the general education class setting and to be equipped to be able to handle that work and not have to be in self-contained settings. If that's what you really want, then say that. A lot of times we get so distracted by the problems and we come up with a solution in our head. And then we wed ourselves to the solution and lose sight of the problem we were really trying to solve to begin with. And if you fall in love with the solution, and make that your vision and lose sight of the problem you're really trying to solve, you could actually achieve your vision and not be happy about it. How many times have you written a school improvement plan where you actually met the goal, but your school is no better? Well, builders don't have time for that. So as a builder, our job is to think about the bigger vision, to think about what it is we're building, think about that ultimate outcome, that ultimate result that we want to achieve for our students, and then focus our efforts on that. And one of the things we say all the time in Buildership University is that you have to be stubborn on the vision and flexible in the details. A program, a technique, a teaching strategy, research-based teaching techniques, all those things, those are the means. They're not the end. Those are the ways to get to the results. Those are the details. They're not the vision itself. The vision itself is that your students, by being in your school, are going to achieve something that they couldn't have achieved any other way. For some of you, those are academic achievements, basic reading, writing, arithmetic. For others of you, those achievements are really about a mindset shift or opening up new possibilities for students, or empowering students to set goals and achieve goals, or empowering students to think in a particular way. Whatever that is, don't lose sight of that. That's your ultimate goal. That's the outcome you want. When students leave you, how are they better? That's your vision. Now, the tactic, how you get there, might change. Right now, it might be that you need to get behavior back into check. Right now, it might be that you need to increase attendance. Right now, it might be that you need to focus on expanding the arts programming in your school. But your vision is not expanding the arts program or increasing attendance from 70% to 95% or all the other kind of things that we write down. Those, remember, are the details. Those are about how you're going to get to your vision. And that brings me to my second point. A lot of times we understand that this is a means and not an ends, but we're not truly being flexible in the details if we lock ourselves into a particular program without taking time to think about whether or not it's working and whether or not it's actually moving us towards where we want to be. So people come to me all the time and they say, we're doing X, Y, and Z. We have this resource, that resource, this resource. Great. I'm happy for you. How many of those resources, how many of those programs are actually moving you towards your vision? And in a lot of cases, they don't know. They know that they're implementing a program with quote unquote fidelity. They know that, 80% of the classrooms they visit, teachers are using this. But they never stop to think, okay, in those classrooms where teachers are doing X, are you seeing a difference? Does it move your students towards your vision? And if the answer is no, you shouldn't be doing it. And one of the mistakes we make in education, and I think it's probably true in other industries as well, but I think as educators, we are particularly adept at this. And that is that we are very good at adding new programs to the pot without ever critically examining whether those programs are working and whether or not they need to stay. Sometimes something that was really important at the beginning of your pursuit of the vision is no longer necessary because you've overcome that milestone. That is no longer an obstacle. And we never take the thing that we put in place to overcome that obstacle out of the equation to make room for what we need now. We think we need to do it all. Again, if you're focusing on the means and not the ends, then you don't think critically about what it is you're doing. If you're focusing on the end, then you can critically examine the means and say, is this still getting us there? And if not, we need to move it out the way and we need to make room for something that will. Another mindset that we have is that what got you here won't get you there. And this is the idea that the things that helped you overcome an obstacle, the means that served you last year, if they really worked, they're going to not be necessary the next year. I don't feel like I'm saying that as eloquently as it should be said. So let me try that again. You try something that worked. You have a problem. Let's say that problem is discipline, or that problem is attendance, or that problem is that you have some gaps in your programming, or that problem is that teachers aren't planning aligned to the standards. And you put some strategies in place to overcome that problem. If those strategies work, then you no longer have a problem. And so now you may not need those strategies, because if those strategies were designed to overcome a problem and they do overcome a problem, you no longer need it. It's if you take a medicine to solve a medical problem and the medicine works, you don't keep taking the medicine. Eventually you say, all right, I'm cured. I no longer have the infection. I don't need to continue to take antibiotics. What we do in education is we keep taking the medicine, even though we no longer have the ailment. And that can actually create new problems. And often that happens when you're focused so much on the means that you're not thinking about the ends. See, if you're thinking about the ends, you might put something in place to solve a problem. But once the problem is solved, you'll recognize that and you'll realize you don't need that thing anymore, and you'll stop doing it because you're focused on what do we need to do today to achieve our vision. One of the reasons why we spend so much time doing microslicing at Builders Lab is because there seems to be a mindset in education right now that says we're always looking forward and we're not taking time to be reflective. We are always kind of putting out fires, and we're not looking at how to prevent fires. We're always focused on what's right in front of us, and we're not thinking ahead to our ultimate goal. And Builders Lab is like a reset. We spend time thinking, okay, let's get reconnected to your vision. Let's get reconnected to what it is you're trying to accomplish. And let's also understand what challenges really pose a threat to that vision. Because not every challenge you face is that deep, that serious. Some challenges are annoying, but they don't pose a credible threat to your bigger vision. So those are the challenges that you can ignore right now so that you can focus on the ones that really matter. And how do you know? That's what microslicing helps you do. And then how do you develop a solution, an approach that actually eliminates the problem rather than mitigates the problem so that you can make progress towards your vision? How do you remove the obstacle, not just deal with the obstacle, remove it so it's no longer in your way? So I want to challenge you this summer as you are starting to plan for the fall. I want you to think about where you are spending your time and energy. Are you spending your time and energy fighting symptoms and not getting to the root cause? Are you spending your time and energy focusing on the means and losing sight of the bigger end, the bigger vision? And if you're answering yes to that, then we have a couple of solutions. One, come to Builders Lab. We'll help get straight and give you the strategies and the tools and the approaches you need so that you can get refocused on the ends and not the means. Two, come to one of our free vision workshops. And you can do that by just going into Buildership University, joining Buildership University for free. We'll send you the links to the vision workshop. If you go to the free level of Buildership University, it's a version of Buildership University for those of you who may not be ready to join yet, but you want to get access to some of the resources and you want to kind of see what it's about and see how it can serve you. You can go to buildershipuniversity.com. And join the free version of Buildership University. You'll find out when the next vision workshop is. We do one every single month. And three, you can also do this on your own. You can also just spend some time auditing where your energy and where your focus is. Is it really on your vision, or have you gotten caught up in the weeds of trying to make it happen? The resources, the tools, the tricks, the strategies, the things. If so, I want you to take some time this week and ask yourself this question. What is it that I'm ultimately trying to accomplish? That's your vision. And once you get clarity around that, it helps you to move forward in your work with purpose. You have a new sense of focus. You're not distracted by all the shiny objects out there. Instead, you can be clear about what you need to be doing this school year. I promise you, if you can stay focused on your vision, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to start to see all the waste that's in your school right now, and you can start eliminating it. You're going to make bigger progress because you're focused on the right work. And your work is going to feel so much more rewarding because you focused on the ends and not the means, like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me, where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.